Welcome back, everybody, to the Who Do You Like Here podcast. Joey C-Note with me, as always, is the kid. Lots to cover this week for the kid and I. We're going to be recapping last week's Rebel Stakes at Oaklawn Park. We're going to go through the ticket. We've got Spot the Jock again this week. See if the kid can follow back up with a pretty high score. And then we're going to recap, like I said, last week's total pick 5 ticket and wagers. And then we'll roll right into the handicap. And we're going to Gulfstream Park, Fountain of Youth Stakes this week. It's a all-graded stakes late pick 5. So we're going to touch on that and give our picks. Prior to that, though, kid, last podcast for the month hiatus.
Yeah, hopefully go out at a bang. Hopefully get some big winners here this week. So happy to be off of Oaklawn Park and back to Gulfstream because, like I said, I do not mesh well with Oaklawn Park.
It's a difficult track, but they do warrant some prices. We're going to get into that in the not so great week, but not terrible week that we had at Oaklawn Park. So I think you're feeling better about going to Gulfstream for sure.
A lot better, yeah. A lot better.
Well, we're going to miss you when you're gone here. And, we've got some, handicappers coming in to fill the spot for the month long. We'll talk about that too. Let's go ahead and just jump right into this week's episode. So we'll recap this Rebel Stakes. Coal Battle winning the Rebel pretty convincingly, if you ask me. Then we'll go through last week's selections ticket. We'll play Spot the Jock. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So the one race that we definitely missed here was Coal Battle winning the Rebel Stakes here for the 2025 at Oaklawn and at a decent price. Really can't complain on the almost 12-1 shot, $25 payout. Manicat Road coming in second, Sandman coming in third, Publisher finishing up with a few points for the first Saturday of May, coming in fourth. Thoughts on the race?
I'm a little disappointed that we overlooked the one as much as we did, because looking back at it, the last couple of races they had, they dominated and they're on a win streak, and horse is improving. So I was a little disappointed that I didn't have that on my radar, but I think I was blinded by what I thought were monsters in that race, and obviously paid the price. But it feels like a horse that we should have had. It feels like a horse that we should have had.
I agree.
Tacit. Now looking back,
I agree. Yeah, hindsight's 2020. You can't bet them all. But I think we tried to narrow out where we thought certain horses to be. Levin never really even showed up in the race, which was our top pick. Can't remember off the top of my head. You have to look back at the form.
Bejarano and Moquette, I believe.
Yes, yeah. Just take that one right off the sheet. The 5 and the 3 figured to be there. The 1 just didn't see that horse being able to win as convincingly as it did. So let's go ahead and just kind of recap top of the stretch here. Now, mind you, we're picking up here at the top of the stretch, but this race was won on the turn. The 1 made a very strong, convincing move, and not only made a convincing move, but was 4 wide on that turn. So was gobbling up a lot of ground here. We'll pick it up. Like I said, this is where the 1 is already matched up here with 5, and Irad looks over and basically knows he's up for competition, and it's really no competition. The 1 has all the momentum. 5 on the front end is just still a good race for Manicat Road, hanging on for second. It looks like he's tiring, but he's really not. He's still pretty game at the rail. The 1 is just that good. Sandman not only makes a great move here, but also finishes out really strong in the gallop out. Something to also, pay attention to as we move forward in a race that, fraction wise was pretty good. 23, 45 and 7, 110, almost 111, just under. So fraction's pretty high up there. I thought Irad was going to try to steal this race, just wasn't able to.
Yeah, and it looks like the 1 too is a little green still. So I think obviously see him lugging in a little bit. I think something to note, something to look for them to be working on, I think, in the next one. But I mean, there's not much more you can really say about the horse. I mean, a brilliant ride, definitely where he wanted to be in that field, is close to the front, and a very strong finish for a horse that, like I said, we should have had. But
yeah, he was ducking it a little bit, trying to change leads. They finally got him straightened out. Got him in the right path here, but it was a little like they're 3-year-olds. They're going to be a
Yeah.
little green, but great win. Like I said, great payout for the race overall and the exotics. I mean,
Yeah.
just nice payouts overall. $307 double. Your exact was 227. That try was 811.
Yep.
So yeah,
Good
listen,
finish
man,
on
we'll
the
try to
three
do it.
too. Good finish on the three. I
Yeah,
like the what I saw. Even though Sandman didn't win the race, definitely had a lot of horse left over. It makes you kind of scratch your head and see why they didn't try to move earlier, or try to be a little bit more in the race at the turn. But I mean, a really good finish
you
there. A horse that
you
I'll
can
probably
see him
watch
in the
back.
mix here. He's 4 wide in the back in the green here in
Yeah.
this replay portion, and there's all kinds of traffic in the middle. He actually avoids the traffic. If he comes up the middle, he does not finish
Right.
third. So the rider, if you're following in the green back there, sitting just about fifth or sixth back there, he's going to go like 4, 5, even 6 wide here. But if you look at the middle pack, it all crams in right here.
Yep.
And the 3 just avoids all that, having to stay on the outside. So still 6 wide on the turn, coming to the stretch, and was picking up a lot of ground late. Really want to keep an eye on Sandman moving forward.
Yeah, I think I'd be betting this horse next race back for sure. It just again too, like, why put yourself so far back? Why put yourself so far in a cluster, in a big field at Oaklawn Park? It just doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
maybe they just didn't get the break that they wanted. But I mean, again, a horse that probably could have won and should have won that race. If you put that horse, I feel like, in a better position. But
Yeah, was definitely sitting there in the odds-on favorite position here. Medicate Road right around your middle ground horses, and like I said, Cold Battle at right around 12-1.
yeah,
Let's go ahead and move on. We'll see if we can do better here in the Fountain of Youth Stakes. But it's time to spot that jock. Let's see if the kid is able to use that talent of his squinty eyes and his bad eyesight, be able to pick up here. So we're going to give a little time here this time. Last time you kind of burned right through it. So I'll give you about 10 seconds, and then I'll ask you for the name, okay?
okay.
All right, let's get it on. I'd say this one is about as easy. It's about as easy as last week's was. First picture, pretty convincingly. I think. I mean, I know I said
I know who it is already.
I already know the answer, but let's go ahead. Who's your answer?
Is that Raylu?
Yeah, that's definitely Raylu Gutierrez. It's hard to blur out that great smile from the best racer in the 585 zip code. Great job. First out the gates. There's your 100 points. This one, that one was only 3 blurs. This one's got 4. We'll see if it's a little tricky. It's going to start off a little tougher. We make the second one's tougher for the kid. Have him square it out here. So let's see what you got.
Ooh, I think I know who it is too.
Yeah, this one, I think looking at this image, you could probably go a couple different ways because you're really just seeing more of a head shape. You're not really seeing any kind of distinctive fit. You're not seeing Raylu's smile or Jose's smile in this image. So go ahead and give me your first guess.
Saez.
It's getting to be just too easy to give you. We're going to have to make it really, really. Basically, I'm going to have to give you like a blackout screen.
Just you'll have to give me like just a cutout, basically.
Yeah, just the silhouette.
The silhouette.
That's an idea. Right?
That would be a little bit more tough.
Next time. Okay, silhouette next time, then we'll move to a blurred image. We got to cut you down. 2 first-time answers, both correct. Nice job, kid. You know your jocks. I got to tell you that. You know your jocks.
Sure do. Give me a delta down to probably knock that one out too.
See, I'm trying to keep more mainstream. I mean, if I really go and we have to maybe do hints and tell you what circuit they're on, I think if I hit you with Laurel, you might be a little lost. But
yeah, probably just a little bit. I know like 3 main jockeys at Laurel, so.
Mid-Atlantic race courses, you're probably going to struggle at, but we're hitting main top jocks here, obviously. Guys that are definitely up there in the top 10, 20. All right, let's move it on now. Let's look at last week's results that we had at Oaklawn Park. Not the prettiest, but listen, we had a winner in the first leg. My third selection. It wasn't my top 2. But we did have a little combination there. If you decide to go a different route, take third and fourth choice, you probably did really good last week. Second leg, your fourth choice. First time you really go 4 out. You said it at the podcast. You're going to go 4 deep. You did pull that winner out of there, bringing the 12 on board. 13, my third choice. Second, your 1, your top choice coming in third. Next leg was kind of a slam dunk here. Again, your third choice I thought was going to be the winner in that race, to be honest with you. My third choice just beat you out there. 4, 2, and 3. We both hit the 3. Your top, my second. Try could have been sat there if you really wanted to jumble up some of these numbers, but top picks weren't hitting. We definitely go ahead and ghost out the next race here because we didn't have, the winner of the Rebel, which definitely hurts. But then, finishing up in this last leg, we had a late scratch on the 2 with IRAD. Never got an opportunity to run. Second choice 11 wins the race. At least we saved some grace with almost a top choice scratch.
Yep.
But yeah, rough week. Not gonna lie.
Definitely warranted that we gave you the disclaimer. At least I gave you the disclaimer before we started that was probably gonna be not great. So,
and it wasn't.
How about?
But I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say I think you have to spread out at Oaklawn. It's just too wide open in those races that the Jockey Colony and even those that chip in, it still makes it very competitive. There's no slam dunks usually. Good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how about the day your boy had at Oaklawn Park?
Jose?
No, Irad had a great day.
Jose had 4 winners, I believe.
So yeah, Jose did as well. The Ortiz brothers just continue to dominate in every fashion, but
yeah, I'll say it again. Best decision that Jose made was actually going to the fairgrounds, dominating that. And I think with that confidence now, when he's shipping in, he's shipping in still on great opportunities, and he's taking full advantage here. So the tides may turn. Where Jose is, there was a stretch there a couple of years ago. We talked about it on the podcast. Just a bad stretch for Jose. He's definitely turned things around. Glad to see he's back at the top where he needs to be. So.
Yeah, and Keeneland Spring Meet's right around the corner, and I'm sure that confidence is only going to help him with his Midwest connections that he's made and all the success he's having.
Absolutely.
So definitely a great decision for him. That's for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely has spread his opportunities. He's got a lot of trainers that have. He's in with the barns that have trainers barns that have opportunities at a lot of different tracks, and they're gonna reward him for the hard work that he's put in, not only in Kentucky in that move, but going to the fairgrounds, and then obviously New York, which he hasn't been back to. So it'd be interesting if he ever goes back there for any of these Derby prep races coming up. See how he finishes on a card there.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting. That's pretty much it here for the recaps and everything from last week. We're just gonna get right back into it and get into the handicap.
Did you happen to see the Swift information they posted?
I did not. I can honestly say that I have done a great job of avoiding any of those comments and strings. What's the new?
I got sucked into it yesterday. I was on Twitter, and so I guess Swift is now part of his own private investigation unit, and he ended up meeting with supposedly he ended up meeting with Saffie Joseph, and went and talked to him because he was a big he's a cheater. When everything happened at Churchill Downs, slandered him, said this, that, and the other. He's just a horrible trainer. He's juicing all his horses, whatever.
Yeah.
Yep. Supposedly he went out there. Saffie put him up in a hotel, took him out to dinners, and they talked. And they were talking about how the Jockeys Club was targeting Saffie Joseph and trying to, I guess, trying to, I don't know if get him out of racing or just tarnish his name. I don't know what the end player or why he would do that, but according to Swift, it was kind of like a manhunt trying to get Saffie out of the industry, and because he was winning too many races. Maybe I don't know what the motive was, but it was an interesting read. And supposedly, he said Saffie has videos of these guys coming in there and tampering with his barn, and they found traces of rat poison in one of the horses or something like that, and said it was planted or it was an actual, I don't know. Every time he comes out with a video, I'm just okay, here we go again, part 2 of I've got this video, but it's not going to ever come out to light. But
he's in possession of the video that was given him by Saffie.
I don't know if he has the video or Saffie has the video. I suppose all hearsay. This is coming from TMZ Swift, so I don't really know what's true or not.
Yeah, dude, it's like the National Enquirer back in the early 70s and 80s. Listen, I can't really take anything that guy says can't even take it with a grain of salt. I just can't anymore. I had to just get away from looking at anything and just kind of avoid any of his. It's interesting. I did see a lot of posts on X asking for some certain not information, but they were. I know that Swift was doing something because everybody was talking about him. Yeah, they were throwing things out there. Something with Jorge Navarro. I don't know, who's still doing time with service right now. So listen, misery loves company, man. I know that Swift feels like he's being singled out on the whole Bob Baffert case, and even though he's instigated it, and I think he's just looking for somebody else who's some kind of conspiracy theories going on that it was a sabotage. If it's true, we'll see. If Safi hasn't posted anything and said anything, I'm sure that was just banter.
Yeah,
I'm sure it was just banter about his bar and things happening.
If he actually met with him, I don't even know if I can't validate if he actually met with him.
I mean, I think he had a picture of him.
Yeah, that'd be true. Yeah,
I got a picture with Safi.
I didn't get too deep in the weeds, but I just read kind of his big snapshot of what he said was happening, and I was like, all right. Thought it was interesting. I'm sure if you're looking for something to read or want to get a laugh, go ahead and give it a whirl.
I'll avoid that rabbit hole for now. Plenty of other things to go ahead and watch and read. Yeah. I guess as the wheel turns, I'm assuming this came out on Tuesday because X is always usually horse racing X on Tuesdays.
Probably came out on Tuesday or Wednesday. I read it yesterday, so probably Tuesday. But yeah,
it's like your favorite show, your favorite. Yeah, every Tuesday.
The dark days of our lives is what it should be called.
It's the soap opera for sure. Let's go ahead and handicap, man. Let's get over to Gulfstream. So Saturday, not Sunday. Maybe that threw us off last week. Sunday.
No, it's just Oakland. That's just Oakland.
Okay. I'm just trying to make excuses, but
no excuses. I digress. It's just a horrible. Yeah, scratch a lot. I'm off of Oakland. Never mind.
Okay. Get off the soapbox. We do have to go back there for the Arkansas Derby, but it's going to be a while. And you'll be back by then, so we have to.
I'll be sick that week.
Let's go. Gulfstream Park. Late pick 5 starts in race 10 on Saturday. It's a mile and 3/8 on the turf. It is the Very One Stakes. Purse of $165,000. Fillies and mares, 4 years old and upwards. First off, every time you handicap a race, or at least when I handicap a race, I'm always looking for what's the speed, what's the pace, how's it going to set up? That's the first thing I usually tend to look for, so I can see where they're going to be positioned early coming out the gate. Well, there's no speed. I mean, there's just no speed in this turf race, and most of these run the same kind of races. And I think that most of these are looking for a hot pace to run down, and that's how they usually win their races, is running down fast pace. So I'm actually going to try to swing over and get some lone speed at some low fractions, and I'm going to roll the dice with a horse that's getting its first time opportunity here as a 5-year-old. She's Immensitude for Bill Mott, Junior Alvarado. That's your 4. Looking back here, a couple grade 3s at the end of last year in October and November, and then on the relax and rest tab. Junior's been riding this horse pretty much regularly all of last year, except for one race, which was the Mint Julep at Churchill Downs, and is tactical, can come off the pace or can go. I'm really hoping that this is the one that sends, because it really breaks really well every time. It makes the most sense that it should break near the front against these. Everybody else should be pulling back. So Junior should find himself on the lead, in my opinion, and be able to run the fractions he wants. And I think if he can get away with a very slow first half, 49, I'd like to see 50 or plus, then it's almost like, I think it's almost a gimme. So really looking for that first half mile. I'll know if Immensitude is going to hold on. First time out, talk about it all the time. Maybe I'd like to take a race or two to watch this one, at least one. I'm going to say that the 4 furlongs on February 10th, 49, easy 103-1 for 5 furlongs coming in. Just rolling the dice here. But I think it's a great opportunity for someone who's got some speed that might be able to go ahead and run away with the race, wire to wire. All right, or gate to wire. I'm going to take the one underneath, Forever After All. Tyler Gaffalione and Brandon Walsh. Makes a lot of sense here. They team up, do good business. Horse has been off Lasix here now for the last 5 races, and really hitting really great strides in a lot of graded stakes races. The times are really good in those races as well. Just missing in a non-graded stakes race 2 back and 214, and then in a grade 3, 216-5, 217 basically, 216-4 with the finish. And beaten favorite 2 times back, winning last time out the grade 3 at Gulfstream Park for a mile and a half. So I like the distance. I like everything about it. This one makes a lot of sense too. I'm going to try to put in the under, like I said. See if we can put that 4 on top. Queen, Regent, the 3, DeTore, Brandon Walsh. This one also makes a lot of sense. Maybe not the best race last time, but still only a length off, was right there against Forever after all in that grade 3 at Gulfstream Park. Just makes a lot of sense overall from the pace of the race and where it should be. And then I'll go to the outside and I'll take a chance. You know nothing. It really should be my motto here, the way that we were picking last week. But Christophe Clement, Joel Rosario, start a team back up a little more. Maybe the connections are back. Rosario last time on this horse at an optional claiming 35, really cheap. That was on Lasix. Just thinking that maybe they're putting this horse, putting her in for a reason, and maybe get a tag for the underneath prices. I can't see it winning, but I can see it possibly being there late, especially at the late fractions. It makes a lot of sense if the race goes 49.50 at the half. So throw a little dart here on the top position, 4 with the 137. And I got a question on one, which I'm sure you're going to bring up.
Possibly. I've got the 5 as my top choice. Beach Bomb, a horse that was well in form when it was racing overseas, and then came to the States and was competitive, but just wasn't winning and hasn't won yet here in America. But I'm looking at that last race and I'm looking at the fractions that I see here, and you're getting Saez, who, really is going to listen to instructions here. Graham Motion, I'm sure, is going to tell him exactly where to put this horse. It's a deep closer. That's what this horse does. They come from the back and they end up winning the races. That's what they were doing when they were winning the grade 1s. They come in here and, try to win a stakes race, at Monmouth, come a little bit short. They go into a grade 2, bring them back in a grade 2. You get Antonio Frisu aboard at Santa Anita. Just missed there as well, 2.5 lengths off, coming third. Bring them back. Let's say, all right, let's go into the Breeders' Cup. They make the Breeders' Cup. They come in 8th by 3.5. And if you look at that last race, I mean, they were nursing the speed at the front end. There's no way you're going to catch a horse that's going 49. There's no speed to press. Yeah, exactly. And if that's what happens, they're probably going to run into the same situation. But be that as it may, if you get a faster pace at the front, seeing that there are no front runners, maybe a couple people are going to try to steal it. This horse has a great turn of foot. They're obviously improving, as you can see, an 80 speed figure, then a 93 and a 97. You know that this horse is capable of big runs. They did it in their career. They just got to get the right trip. You're getting Saez, who obviously is a top jock here. And one thing I'd like to see here out of those two is just, again, a good patient trip, but a clean trip out of them. I know they're going to be coming from far back, but try not to weave through as much traffic, in this leg. And the one thing I also like is I like the class relief here. Jumping into a grade 1 and grade 2 here early in your America career might not be the easiest thing to do, especially when you haven't raced, against this type of style and these type of horses, So the grade 3, dropping down to a grade 3, I think is exactly where they need to be. They got a couple of races and they're coming off the layoff. I'll take a swing with Saez here. And see if he gets a little bit of a better trip and a little bit better luck. I have the 4 underneath. I think the 4, like you said, makes a ton of sense. I'll never, ever, ever leave Bill Mott and Junior off my card. Another horse that's really, really solid in their last 4 races, posting 90 speed figures, 189 in the grade 3. But this is a company they've ridden against, for the last couple of races, and they're competitive in every single race. They're just missing the win by a length. 2.5 right there every single time. Like you said, I mean, they can get position, they can get out and break well. Maybe they'll be on the front end. But I mean, the way this horse looks, it looks like they're going to be sitting stalking as well and looking for an opportunity. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. 90 days away, but Bill Mott, that doesn't really hurt him. It seems like it helps him. He's got really good percentages coming off of, a 90-day layoff. And again, you're getting a connection that obviously is successful and you see many, many times. So I can't leave them off my card. They've been hitting the board pretty consistently. And then the other one I have is kind of way off to the outside. It's Blush. It's Jorge Ruiz, and another Graham Motion horse. Jorge Ruiz does ride for Graham Motion quite a bit. They're not always in the limelight. It's not always in the big stakes races. But when he does get an opportunity, he does try very, very hard. It's a connection he likes. Especially when the jockeys are gone, and off the different tracks, it's a connection that he, I think, kind of relies on a little bit. And I'm looking at a 101 speed figure, which is better than any other horse in the field. If they run anywhere near that again, I mean, it's going to be a very difficult horse to beat. They're 19 lengths off at one point in that race in the Taylor Grade One at Woodbine, 19 lengths off, and they finished by 8.5. So they made up over half the ground on the field. And a track like that, I think, is very, very important to note because front end speed, stalkers in the front at Woodbine is kind of where you want to be. You don't see deep closers winning those races. So I think, again, you set this horse a lot better, put him in good position, and she'll have enough down the stretch to carry you home if you need to. So I like what I'm seeing there. Like I said, I think they're going to be coming late. I don't know if they necessarily have enough to win, but I do like them underneath at a decent price. I'm sure you're going to get a decent price on that 9. So 5 with the 4-9 is where I landed here.
Okay. I like everything I'm hearing. It's kind of a wide open race. It sounds like from both of our picks, only unified number we have there is the 4. Yep. I did like the 9. I didn't like the distance, but I did have a question for you. Right next on the 8, La Mahina. This is one that actually has beaten, kind of going back and forth with Forever After All. Thoughts on this horse? I thought, 2 back and winning that race, Dylan Davis in the non-graded stakes race, and then following it back up. The distance, 1 3/8 is kind of what this horse is typically running. It's pretty consistent at the distance. The 1.5 little more, maybe just a slight bit more, but really still gain ground. So maybe the 1.5 was the better position, or maybe that's the distance that's key, because it seems to be just winning at that 1 3/8. It seems to be, to me, it should hit the board, but again, it needs those fast fractions early, and I'm just not seeing it early on. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that one.
I'm not a huge fan of the diminishing speed rating that they're getting. Yeah, because again, this horse is right there. I mean, they won by a neck and they lost by a neck in their last 2 races, but an 81 and 85 speed figure is not what I think is going to win this race. Me saying this probably means it's going to win, but I think they've ridden in this field, in this in this echelon, I guess, of races. They've ridden against a Grade 3 company, and they've got some wins and they got some losses, and I guess a couple wins and more losses. So I wouldn't mind throwing it underneath. I just don't think. I don't see a massive jump in the speed figure that I think they need to have to win this race. But like I said, now that I said that, I probably just cursed us and they probably win the first leg. So
the only reason I bring it up is the ones we really like haven't raced this year yet, for the most part. Meaning, the speed figure alone. Let's just kind of quickly go through it. I know we've been on this race a little bit longer than we probably wanted to, but for the one time out with an 81 speed figure, prior to that from last year, 85 and 93. The 2 one time out, 89 speed figure, finished 5th by 3 lengths. Prior to that, last year, 89, 83, 85. The 3 has an 80 speed figure. Prior to that, 89 and 97. Sometimes I think after that break and that lapse, you're not actually going to get that high speed figure coming off. And maybe the 8 is ready to go. Maybe the 8 just needed that first race. Maybe that is the weight 1 or weight 2 or whatever it is. I just don't see it from a pace perspective, but it should probably be 3-1, and it's probably going to be somewhere in that lukewarm favor, I would assume.
Could be.
All right, we can go. We can get off of this. We've spent enough time. Let's go to the 11th race. 11th race is a mile. This is the Grade 2 Gulfstream Park mile. Purse of $215,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards. I'm going to stick with IRAD here. Todd Pletcher, Mind Frame. Makes a lot of sense. Last 2 races were the Belmont and the Haskell last year. Speed figures 106, 97, 105, and 98. 4 trips out. Got a really great workout coming in February 22nd, 59 and 3. Horse should be ready to go. I think that they've got this one primed for its 4-year-old campaign, and I think you're going to see a convincing win. There is a little speed in here that you have to contest with that I'm going to talk about also, but that one's my top pick. I'm not even going to have to look any further on that. I'll roll the dice here with IRAD. The 3 Encino is interesting. This is your speed, always goes to the front. That's how it wins, but it's also come off the pace in a $150,000 non-graded stakes race. That was on synthetic. This one back on dirt. It's got 4 in a row. Just missed going 5 in a row because it didn't break its maiden on debut. It took 2 tries at $70K. Workouts are average at best, but the horse definitely shows up. It's for a good Dolphin. It's Brad Cox. This one makes a lot of sense. I wouldn't be surprised if the 3 and the 1 are the only 2 coming down the stretch. Underneath, trying to get a price. I'm going to go with the 5 Counter Spy. This is ridiculous. It's Raheem Marat and Robert Moscow. if you're looking at the body of work, it's really nothing really sexy here. But if you look when the horse is running on dirt at a route, then you can go ahead, scratch all the sprints out, and you got 2 wins and a third, but had the lead in that race with Paco at a long shot price. I just think this is one that could maybe possibly be underneath. I think it's like 20, 25 to 1, something of that range. If this hits the board, it could actually make some kind of price with the 2 chalks, the 1, the 3 that I see on top. Pretty much convincing as top 2 picks. But let's get the 5 in there to get some money in it. I wouldn't sleep on that 5 for a price underneath. But then outside the 7, this one makes a lot of sense. Steel Sunshine. This is Paco Lopez. Has a lot of history on this horse. Runs a lot of graded stakes here for Bobby DeBona. And I like the workout on February 15th at 5 furlongs in 1 minute and 3/5. Just really, really nice run. Didn't like the last race first time out, but I'm always willing to give one. That's why I usually like to wait. So didn't win the grade 1 at Gulfstream Park last time on January 25th. Might be a competitor here coming off the pace with a lot of speed up top. Steel Sunshine, probably better than 4th that I gave you here over the 5. So I'll kind of reverse it here and how I see it going. 1, 3, 7, 5.
Yeah, I've got the 1 as well. I think Mind Frame is too good. They don't necessarily need the lead right away, especially if a couple horses go out, they can sit off. But very tactical. They can win from the front if they want, or they can just sit off and wait and kind of, bide their time. But I think just, coming off of 2 grade 1s back to back, they were just short. You're getting a little bit of a class relief coming into a grade 2. You're getting IRED, who's the leading jockey there at Gulfstream Park. It's Todd Pletcher. It's everything you want to see. I like what I'm seeing. I don't know if anybody can scratch a 106, 105 speed figure if they run. On paper and just from, if you watch the races, these are the horses that you kind of feel and know that they are the best horse in the field. I mean, they lost to Dornoch. I mean, if we're talking about horses that,
Twice.
that's you put Dornoch in this race too. I'm talking the same exact thing. You take Mind Frame up, saying the same exact thing. Very good horse. And I think they should win in a convincing fashion. I've got the 3 underneath. Like you said, I mean, a horse that has to go up to the front also could sit and be a little bit more tactical. I mean, they came back from 4 lengths off. Obviously, that wasn't a graded stakes race. And it's had success in non-graded stakes races as well as, some open company races. But, 4 straight front-running fashion. Saya is going to get out, going to go. It's Brad Cox. I just think the 1's too good, so I wouldn't be surprised if you see a 1-3 for a $2.50 exacta.
Right.
And then the other horse that I had underneath is the 4 Shaq Diesel. I think this horse is going to be a little bit of a price. David Fox, Miguel Vasquez, a horse that just is very competitive. They're very much in the money. If you look in the last 5 races, I mean, they finished 4th last time out with Joel aboard. Has never ridden the horse prior to that, so I kind of chucked that race off. But again, they're losing by 1.5, and coming in 2nd and 3rd. Good speed figures coming into the race, in the low 90s. Miguel Vasquez again, I called him. I think last time we were handicapping Gulfstream, and I think this is another one where he's got a decent price, and I think he's got a good opportunity. Not a whole lot of graded stakes opportunities for him, or even graded races, or non-graded stakes races, but again, very competitive and good races overall. So I do like your 5. I might upgrade the 5 a little bit. I mean, from what you're saying, I was going to cut you off when you're talking about it, but when you get to those routes on the dirt, that's kind of where they do their damage. So it is definitely a horse that I would look at on Saturday as well. But
underneath for sure. I just don't sleep on it to try to get a price, whether that's tries or supers, or maybe even the exacta if speed fails and one of those 2 draw off. See that happen quite a bit. I do like Shaq Diesel as well. I'm not mad at that pick at all. And what does David do? David Fox. Great pick on that as well. So pretty much narrowed on docking on that one, man. Pretty much on the top 2. Seeing things the same. Maybe that's the lock gimme race. I don't know. We're gonna see.
Might be.
I think for me it probably is. Let's go to the 12th race. 12th race, a mile on the turf. Grade 3 Honey Fox. It is a purse of $165,000. Fillies and mares, 4 years old and upwards. I'm gonna go with the 4. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the 4. We're gonna take Poolside with Slim, I like the same move that you get with this horse every single time. You get that kind of mid-race move, and it just gobbles up ground. It's got nice late pace figures. Listen, Frankie Dettori's one with this horse, two back, and the Valley View at Keeneland. That was back in October. He rode him prior to that in a non-graded stakes race, just missing. And I think when you're looking at it overall, the one thing between those two races he's had three opportunities. He also won five back in a non-graded stakes race at Penn. But in the two main races most recently, I guess in September and October, when I'm looking and comparing the two, getting bottled up on the farthest opportunity back in September and not being able to make the move kind of shut him down, just really got a rough trip. He's going to have to do the same thing. He's going to have to carve out his trip. Frankie really does a good job on these turf races carving out. Dirt races, maybe not so good, but he's just got a feel for the turf. It's in his blood. He's one of the best turf riders you're going to get, and he's still doing it. And I think for George Arnold in this case, I think they went back to him for a reason, and he's getting this opportunity going back to a mile, cutting back in the distance from the last race. And that's going to be my nod up, a little class relief from grade 2 to grade 3. So let's go ahead with the 4 on top. Underneath, I do like the 7. This is Special Juan. The works are great. This is the first time for this year. The workouts are just absolutely phenomenal. And the body of work prior to that coming in from the tail end of last year was really good. So Luis Saez, Brendan Walsh. The workouts I really like are February 2nd. So more recently on the turf. That was a 59-2 for 5 furlongs. And then another turf workout, 59-3, February 21st coming in. The 7 is really, really sneaky to possibly even win this race because it's going to be a similar kind of trip. And, Louis also carves out really great opportunities on any surface. I just give the nod up to Dettori in this race due to the fact that I think he's due for a nice graded stakes race on the grass for this card. The 6 Ozara is interesting too. It's Joel and Christoph again teaming up. Horse has done nothing wrong. It's really consistent in how it runs. It's consistent on its speed figures. A little lackluster from what I'm looking in this race, but really ran a bang-up race at Gulfstream Park. 3 back at a grade 3, and then even 2 back with Rosario when he finally got the opportunity. 3 back was Tyler. 2 back was Rosario, and just missed at that 7.5. We're going the mile, so we're getting a little extra panel. Maybe that can make all the difference here. Beating odds-on favorite. Wins last time out with Lasix, going back off Lasix, so still going to keep the 6 on the underneath. And I do like the 10 with John Velasquez and Todd Pletcher. These two are older than dirt, but when they team up, they do some damage here for sure. 21% win, 48% in the money on 29 opportunities. 2 grade 3 races far back in March and February of last year, but ran well in graded stakes. Obviously, coming out in 2025, put in an optional claiming 62.5. They weren't in for the tag. Lasix and odds-on favorite won that race pretty easy. Nice, easy race to go into. Now moving into a grade 3. So a little bit of a step up from the filly out of Audible. So that's going to be it for me. Those are my top 4. Seem to make the underneath seem to make a lot of sense. There's a few others maybe for other positions in the try, but my tops are 4, 7, 10, and 6.
Yeah, this is a tricky race. I think I was looking at this one probably the longest out of all of them, and I landed on the 8 as my top choice. The speed in this race, I think Edwin Gonzalez and Safi Joseph Jr. Last 3 times out, they went a mile in the 16th, shortening up to a mile. What they do is they go to the front and they try to burn out and go as fast as they can for as long as they can, and that's what they do. And last 2 times out, that's exactly what they did, and they got caught just at the wire. So, I think shortening up and getting a class relief and keeping the same tactic here is going to be important. This horse is running a 22.46. I think if they run that race and nobody presses them, see you later. So I'm just going to take speed at the front here. I like the shortening up, like I said, comboed with the class relief. I think is a good combo, and I like my chances here for a horse that's going to be on the front end and has been on the front end in a consistent fashion. So I've got the 8 as my top choice here in this leg. The other horses I landed on, I have the 2. I think the 2 makes sense. Running in grade 3s, hasn't had the most success in the graded stakes races, but is competitive. Very, I want to say one pace though. It seemed like, they get in that second position and it's hard for them to make up the ground that they need to down the stretch. But then you get Irad. There's always the Irad effect. He's always going to get a little bit more out of the horses that, maybe haven't shown that much. But it's a Christoph Irad connection here, which also is very rare, but does Does pay every once in a while. And again, last 3 times on the turf, at a mile, or last 2 times at a mile in the 16th, shortening back up to a mile, I think is gonna have some effect on them. I like them underneath, and then I have the 6, as you mentioned. I like the Joel Kristoff connection. I'm a sucker for betting them when I think they're going to come back and be what they once were. I got to get that out of my head. But again, a horse that's hitting the board at an unbelievable clip. Their worst finish was 4th, and you have to go all the way back to September of 23. So very, very good horse, very competitive horse. The fields that they're racing in aren't the strongest fields, I guess you could say, but still pretty good. And I like what I'm seeing there.
Yeah.
It's also it's a race where Joel doesn't have to hustle this horse out and break, on top. He can sit back like what he normally does and be a little bit more patient. It kind of fits his MO and his riding style as of late. So the horse that just needs to be semi close to the lead and have enough horse down the stretch could catch the lead, coming down. So I have the 6 as well. So 8 with the 2 and the 4, or 2 and the 6. Sorry.
I will tell you. Yep, I will tell you that everything you're giving me here is everything that makes sense, right? Because it looks like everybody gave me here is forwardly placed. Even Joel, even if he breaks, he probably should only be sitting, in the 4th or 5th position. He should not be sitting last. If he is, you can count that 6 completely out.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of speed in this race. I'm seeing a lot of these horses that are near the front are at that 23 and change and 47 and 5, 47 and 4. That's a pretty fast pace, and I'm just looking for somebody who can possibly run that down. Could be counterintuitive. It could be to the front, top 3, and just merry-go around it. Little change up at the end. So speed definitely is a key factor in this race. And of course, this race is at the rails at 59 feet. So I always say, we've talked about that and had our arguments here, but an extended rail speed is the advantage. So the 8 really has moved up on my listing after your conversation here with the podcast. That's why we do it. So maybe you are going to see some pretty forwardly fast-paced action with nobody really being able to make up the ground, which would make a lot of sense in a race with the conditions like this. Let's go ahead. We'll move on to the 13th race, the leg that usually kills us in the pick 5, the 4th leg, race 13, a mile and the 16th, grade 2 Fountain of Youth Stakes, purse of $415,000 for 3-year-olds. Listen, I will take the 3 Burnham Square for Ian Wilkes and Edgar Zayas. I think Edgar's got opportunities. It's kind of his track that he's most comfortable at when he races and where he has opportunities. And this is a horse that's coming off, breaking its maiden, took 3 tries nonetheless, and it had to drop down to 65,000 to do so. But has run 3 of those races at a mile and the 16th. And honestly, the Holy Bull is the one that I'm really going with because it beat some really good horses that I thought were a little bit better than Burnham Square in that race. So I'm liking the form that it is in right now. A 101 flat, 5 furlongs is a good condition race coming in on February 22nd. It's a tough race. I don't need to say anything more than that. The 3 will be my top pick. I like the 2 also. Sovereignty, another Junior Alvarado Belmont. I know you're going to have it on your ticket. 3 increasing speed figures and winning another grade 3 after breaking a maiden for 90,000. And that was at Churchill Downs in the street sense. That was a nice come off the pace kind of move. And that probably is really what sets up well for this race, is, in my opinion. I think the 3 has the ability to go to the front. The 2 has the more stalking ability and a little more tactical with some better late pace figures, except for that Holy Bull, which is why I got the 3 as the advantage. Also underneath, I like the 6, River Thames, John Velasquez, Todd Pletcher. They're teaming up again here on a horse that's got 2 speed figures of 96 and 99. Really, really consistent and winning it by 4 and 6 lengths. Yes, it's a maiden 94. Yes, it's an optional claiming 75,000 at a mile. They're stretching it out a mile and the 16th. I don't think that's going to be the problem. Distance is not the issue. It's going to be pace-wise, but listen, being just right off and at the cusp at a half of 46 and 1, and then winning that race by 6 lengths says, I think Todd thinks he's got a gangster here and loaded, maybe a gorilla that's going to win this race. So got to have the 6 on the ticket. And the 7, IRAD Factor, Safi Joseph, 3 great speed figures prior to the last race in 2025, 93, 91, and 101 speed figures. Listen, again, maiden 65,000, a couple non-graded stakes races, seconditis, wins last time, not really sexy, but the minute and 4 last time out in the workout on February 16th in IRAD, that was for 5 furlongs. I'll go ahead and take the underneath to put IRAD to make sure he possibly hits the board. But I see it being the 3, the 2, and the 6. And then the 7 makes a lot of sense on the underneath. I think 3, 2, and 6 can all come in any form there, but I am going to take the 3, take a stab here with Edgar Zayas and Ian Wilkes, Burnham Square.
We've got a similar look here. I've got the 2 as my top choice. I like what I'm seeing here. A horse that's improved every step of the way. First time out in a maiden 100K. They finished 4th and posted an 88 speed figure. Lost by 3 1/4. They come back in a 90 maiden race. And they end up losing by a neck, posting an 89 speed figure. Again, getting an improved there, and then you come back, and you come into the grade 3, you break your maiden and you win by 5 lengths, and posting a 93 speed figure. So the horse is progressively getting better. I'll always bet a horse that's always coming in, on the improve rather than a horse that's kind of plateauing or, seems like it might be on a decline. So there's another horse that I have on here, which I'll talk about next, that's doing the same exact thing. But again, I'm going to go with the connection that I love and that I watch a lot. And I don't mind the layoff either. A long layoff, after going 3 races, kind of, back to back to back, big races, and then, break that maiden. So I'm going to take a swing with the 2. I think you're getting a decent price on it. I think the 3, like you mentioned, this is a very logical choice, right? I mean, coming off of the Holy Bull, a big win, posting your best speed figure. Again, another horse that constantly improving, 80 speed figure, 94, or 80, 90, 89, 94, and then a 101 in the big race. And winning those last 2 races pretty decisively. So it makes a lot of sense. Edgar Zayas, he races for Safi quite a bit. When he's at Gulfstream Park, Safi's got some horses here. But Ian Wilkes, that connection right there is one he's sticking with after, 2 successful back-to-back wins. So it'd be crazy to leave off your ticket. I think the 3 makes a ton of sense. And the other one that I'm going to is the 6 as well. Big speed figures coming from this horse in their first 2 races. Broke their maiden at Gulfstream Park at 6 furlongs by 4, almost 5 lengths. And then they came back in open company and won by 6.5. So extremely dominant. They break very well every single time, and they get the position they want, and then they just go. It makes a ton of sense. It's Todd Pletcher, it's Johnny V. Nobody better on the front end than Johnny V. Johnny V knows how to nurse that speed when he needs to and go. So, I like what I'm seeing there as well. I think out of those 3 horses, I can put them all together, and I still don't know which one's going to win it because I think they're all very capable. But like I said, I'm going to go on the connection here. And ride with the Mott Alvarado one that hasn't seemed like it's paid out in a little bit, so they're kind of due, in my opinion. But yeah,
they got a couple combinations.
Yeah, exactly.
They got a couple combinations here on this card, and I wouldn't be mad if the 2 wins. Honestly, I think it makes a lot of sense. I'm holding a lot more stake in the Holy Bull than I am the Street Sense. So I mean, if that's where the decision making is, but 2's out of Into Mischief. Obviously, it's Godolphin. So I mean, there's a lot of pluses here. $250,000 purchase price. There's a lot of things you just really want to look at, and it's hard to split hairs between the 2, to be honest with you. So good, solid race for the Fountain of Youth. Really looking forward to that feature race on Saturday. Let's go ahead and wrap it up. We'll go to the 14th race. Still a graded stakes race. Like I said, all graded stakes race, late pick 5. Another one, 1 3/8 on the turf. This one, 0 rail, not extended rail. Unless they change that late going, something with weather caused them to do that, then this is right back at 0. So interesting that they move it out for the race that we talked about earlier, and we're back to 0 for this race. So on that note, grade 2, the Mac Armida, purse of $215,000 for 4-year-olds and upwards. I'm going all the way to the outside as my top pick. Wasn't easy, but I am going to take the 12. This is Luis Saez for Brian Lynch. Looking just most in recent form, right? The October and November grade 3 races, really never in it early and out early, I would say. By the half, really just started losing ground. Maybe it was a little better in the grade 3 at the Belmont at Aqueduct back on October 5th. But the January 25th, first time out for this year, it's a nice win for a grade 3. They didn't even put it in an allowance or an optional claiming condition race. Just went right into it in a grade 3. And the horse really responded. 88 speed figure. That was with Florent Giroux for Brian Lynch. Now you're getting Luis Saez. The workout coming in 58-2 is just really, really gross for me. But yet that was on turf, but yet that was only the 14th best for that day. I still have yet to go back and look and see who else has worked out that day that beat a 58-2. And I want to see where they're racing because that day must have been super special for turf racing at 5 furlongs. But I digress. So I'm going to take a stab here with the 12 and see if we can get a little bit of action come from the outside. Not a really big fan of the post position, though. Moving forward, I like the 4, Missed the Cut. This is the one that was my tough second choice. Tyler Gaffleone. A lot of graded stakes races here, grade 3s and grade 2 last time out. Listen, they shipped it over to Ascot. It really didn't do well last year. They've given it the time off. The workouts since have been solid. You can go back to January 26th of most recent form, 4 furlongs and 47 and 1. And then just some easy 4 furlongs and 48 and change and 49 and change coming in. But the horse has still got the get up and go. It doesn't like staying too far off the pace, which I do like. And I think could be a strong contender in here to be sitting off and making a move. It will be out there early, probably sitting second and third. And I think in the 4 position probably gets the best opportunity. Yeah, there's some speed to the inside that it's going to have to contest. Maybe it's going to be parked out 2-3 wide, 2-3 path, but I think we'll be 4-lead place. And that's kind of where I want to see Tyler put this horse to give it an honest go here and be able to run down top of the stretch. If I left off the 8 Sugoi, I'd probably be pissed off because this horse has been nothing but a picture perfect of just hard tries every time and has come off the pace and has gone to the front, and you really don't know what it's going to do. But Frankie Dettori, again, getting an opportunity for Mike Maker to let the race come to him and go where the horse tells it to go. If the speed is blazing, he may set off. If it's slow, he'll probably charge and press. Either way, speed figures are to be contended with 97, 92, and 103 in the last 3. Last one out, Houston. That was for this year, 97 and winning that one. With Elliott in the saddle, and now you're getting Frankie Dettori, like I said, one of the best turf riders. So definitely going to have that one on the ticket for the underneath to try to get a price. And then last but not least, listen, under the conditions, Cathkin Peak, I've talked about this one with you multiple times. The namesake of the granddaughter to be, that'll be coming here shortly. I saw it. I started playing it. It won for me back at the end of last year at Saratoga. That's when I liked it its best. And then they started putting in graded stakes races, and then all of a sudden it was going out and quitting here at 1.5 miles. But listen, I still think there's a lot of opportunity for a price on this horse underneath. I'm still gonna go ahead and take a shot and put this gelding in the money, and hopefully we can cash a ticket. It's probably a little more of a heartstring pull for me on the exotics, but the horse is capable of going out. And if Paco can get on the front end, maybe with an easier pace and not having to press so hard like 46 and 47s, probably can hang on and definitely be in the money. But there's a lot of other speed in here that's going to want to also go. So you're probably seeing those fractions be pretty close to what you're going to see on Saturday. I don't foresee any 48s or low 49 for the half. That being said, that's going to be my last 4 going in. Top 2 are probably the best 2 for me. I'm going to go with the 12, post position questionable, 4, 8, 11.
I've got a kind of a crazy one here, but it caught my eye.
I like crazy.
And, I'm looking for a price. I've got the 2 prevent. It's Juan Alvarado and Luca Panici. This horse had its best career speed figure when Luca Panici was in the reins. That was this year or last year, December, in the Allen Jerkins. And they went out to the front. It was a 2-mile race, and they went out to the front and obviously, kind of ran out of gas late. But be that as it may, I love the way he broke. I love the way, Luca just kind of left it all out there and said, catch me if you can. And a very good race, a very solid race. Yeah, they finished 6 by 3.5. The Arsenal was coming behind them. But now you're shortening up. You can still go a little bit quicker. The horse breaks very well, so I don't see them changing up the tactics there on going to the front. I think you can steal this race. I like what I'm seeing there. Like I said, I think there's going to be a little bit of confidence from Luca. Even though they didn't win that race and they finished 6th, it's a moral victory when you go, all the way around the track twice, and hold the lead all the way there. And then, it's a good effort. Something I want to see. So I like the 2. I'm going to go crazy on that one. And then underneath the 4, like you said, is a horse that, very well could be upgraded to the best horse in this, this field. A lot of success, a lot of graded stakes races. A lot of wins. The only thing is that it's really raced a lot over in California. Now you're in Florida. You obviously, like you said, they went to Ascot and they did not do well, did not have any success. So an interesting move there. Cherie gets to, take over the trainings first time out with this horse, and you're getting Tyler, and I would not be surprised if she worked her magic on this horse and gets him back to where he needs to be. So I like the 4 a
Mhm.
lot. I think it makes a lot of sense. And then I have the 9 as a horse I looked at as my last choice here. Grand Sonata, again, another horse that's just ridden in all the graded stakes races. I thought it was interesting. Obviously, Tyler had a couple mounts on this horse and, didn't have this one. That just could be because it's IRAD and he was looking for a mount. But nonetheless, Todd Pletcher, IRAD teaming up for a horse very capable, and it's getting a little bit of a class relief since their last start, but also didn't really do much in the last couple of races, last 3 races to upgrade this as my top choice. But has success, has ridden and run some really good speed figures, and the body of work kind of speaks for itself. Yeah, they're not winning the races at a high clip, but very
Mhm.
competitive, and they think enough of this horse to put him in those fields. So I think a horse with a lot of capabilities there. So gonna go crazy in the last leg, hopefully get a monster price on top, but I went 2 with the 4-9 in the last leg here.
I like that. It seems what I'm fearing is that the 2 and the 11 are both gonna burn each other out, which is our top picks. Near our top
11's got
picks.
to
I
get
like the 11.
position though. 11's got to get position, and
Correct. Two gets
get
the
there
easier route
faster.
to get position.
Yeah, you get the
Yeah.
rail right away.
Uh,
You break out.
Yep.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
it's funny, and as you mentioned, Tyler's had the opportunity on the has ridden the 5, he's ridden the 9, he's ridden the 10, and he takes the first time out here on the 4 for an opportunity that, like you said, looks to be probably one of the best horses in the race. Makes a lot of sense here.
Yep.
For BZ LLC and Lane's End Racing. They got a good one here. Sherry DeVoe's got the hot hand, and the January 26th workout 47-1. Shows the horse has still got that early speed. So. That's it. That's your late pick 5. I think we got a nice price coming in maybe in the last race.
Yeah, hope so.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Typically at Gulfstream Park, you usually get your chalk to wrap it up, get your cheapest pick 5 and doubles. Maybe it's going to be a little bit different this week.
Yeah.
On the all graded stakes late pick 5. That is a wrap. That's it from the show this week. Really good response last week. I want to thank everybody for going over to the YouTube channel and actually watching the video feed versus the audio feed. Whether you're on audio or video, I appreciate the support either way. Trying to take this podcast off on the video side. It takes time, but we're definitely constantly climbing. And last week was a big boost for us. So hopefully you all enjoyed the podcast this week. As I said, kids last week, he's going to be taking off the hiatus, a little maternity leave here. So we're going to miss you at the podcast, obviously. Paternity leave. Pa, not ma. Going to miss you on the podcast, but we're putting some able bodies in your place to hopefully do the same thing and pick us some.
You're in good hands, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Got some good guys coming on. Some heat, they would say.
Yeah, we're bringing the heat. We'll post out probably this weekend on the guest handicappers for the month of March. Obviously, we never have any of the podcasts during the March Madness week, the week of St. Patrick's Day. Would that be 22nd of March? Won't be a podcast. We never do that week, so no difference here. But the other 3 weeks, we've got the subs coming in, checking in, and should be good. Should be fun. Yeah, we got a nice little return guest coming. Oh, they're all return guests, I guess.
Yeah, they're all return guests, technically.
They're all return guests. But that goes. Kid, other than that, all the luck and all the best. Definitely we'll be talking soon.
Yeah.
For myself and the kid for this week at the podcast. Good luck on your tickets this week. See ya.